You know, the Microsoft of old probably would have just rushed out video games whether they were ready or not, and that's something that I feel like they don't get enough credit for right now, is the complete turnaround that they've done where it comes to, you know, video games and things like that, and them being actually ready to sort of release. And I've always said that Microsoft was between a rock and a hard place, and the reason why they were in between a rock and a hard place was quite simple. If you look at things, the PlayStation fanboys are the ones going, Xbox has no games. But on the other hand, if Microsoft had rushed out games that weren't ready and they scored low, those same fanboys that are saying Xbox has no games would have then turned to say typical Xbox game fodder, low scoring, low quality, etc. So again, and then they delay the games to make them better, and then you go back to point A, Xbox has no games. So realistically, as an Xbox fan, it is hard to deal with the fact that there is a very much lackluster games in terms of this year. I mean, they've released a couple of smaller ones or whatever, but at the end of the day, I feel like Sony and Microsoft should both be afforded the same sort of relaxed look out at the game that they've released. And what I mean by that is, you know, Sony's big three releases, their only three new releases this year were games that were delayed from last year, and they were all pretty well received. Meaning, if you delay a game, right, you can be assured that it could be a pretty good game. If you don't, you could end up in a cyberpunk situation, and I don't think that's something anybody wants. So yeah, you know, Microsoft is absolutely right for delaying their games, and this announcement from Phil Spencer himself, I think, really goes a long way in proving that this is a completely different Xbox than what we've seen before. I want to get into it. What's up, everybody? Crap Gamer here with Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. Please leave a like on the video. I'm looking to get 100 likes on each of these videos. It would mean a lot to me if you guys would do that. Again, it's just a small goal, but it's a goal that I'm trying to reach for, and if you guys could help me out, I'd appreciate it. Now, Phil Spencer was recently doing an interview talking about delays in the game and said that, hey, Starfield, Redfall delays, it's the right thing to do, even if it costs them money. And I think that's the way you have to look at it nowadays, right? You can't just go, oh, well, you know, we're going to rush out these games. Look, don't ever underestimate this, right? Like, for me, like, if I'm Microsoft, and I know hindsight's 2020, I would have delayed Halo Infinite from last year to this year. I know it would have missed the 20-year anniversary or whatever, but I still would have delayed it till this holiday, because then you would have had Forge, you would have had all the stuff that you needed to get into next year, and you would have had a big holiday release, right? Like, it would have made a world of difference. Yes, it would have been one less game last year, but last year there wasn't like a bunch of games on either side, right? Sony released some remasters late in the year, but realistically their first party release, Ratchet and Clank, early in the year, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I know they released Returnal and then acquired that studio afterwards, but I don't really consider that like a huge AAA game. Meanwhile, you know, on Game Pass, it was like Microsoft released 4 or 5 games back to back to back. They could have definitely done without Halo, I think, and come out with that this holiday. They would have had a more complete game, a more refined game, and I think a game that would have been ready to play. But anyway, Xbox boss Phil Spencer believes that delaying Redfall and Starfield was the right thing to do. Back in May of this year, Bethesda and Microsoft made a decision to both delay the upcoming titles into 2023. Now, in a new interview with The Verge, Phil Spencer was asked about the decision to delay these heavy hitters, which were both scheduled to release during this holiday season, and as pointed out by Xbox head Phil Spencer, the decision to delay both games surely wasn't an easy one, but having shipped games too early in the past, it felt like the best choice with quality in mind. He said, I think its position in it is as a decision might be slightly wrong, at least for me. It isn't really a decision to move a game after spending the game team's efforts over multiple years just to get to a point where, you know, you're not going to deliver the game you want on date that you promised. Now it is at some level because I have shipped games too early. We have experienced shipping games too early. Following the purchase of ZeniMax and Bethesda, although there are several financial implications, Spencer wanted to make sure that the development teams got all the time that they needed to deliver something that they truly believe in. He said, In hindsight, when you look at a game like Starfield, it's taken so long and so much investment in new IP from the team, the decision to give the team the time to build the game that they feel they should be getting is just the right thing to do. There are financial implications to those decisions. Weighing that is going to happen, whether it's platform growth, subscriber growth, or frankly the revenue that you generate when a new game launches. Those are business decisions. You definitely have to weigh the outcome of those decisions. The Xbox head also added that in the end, delaying both titles proved to be the right decision. He said again, and I quote, "For any game, but definitely for our game, Starfield and Redfall, which are our first big Xbox games with ZeniMax coming into the team, I just wanted to make sure that those teams felt like they had all the support they could get from Xbox and to maybe feel some of the benefit of being part of a larger organization that has had revenue streams and other helpful things going on. In the end, I believe the quality of the game will be better and customers will find the experience to be more interesting, which will hopefully feel like the right decision in hindsight." Some interesting context, no doubt, from Phil Spencer on the delay of Redfall and the sci-fi action RPG Starfield as well. In there, he also talked about mobile games and things like that, which I've already talked about a little bit. I can't really wait to see what they have coming out. Listen, I'm excited for Starfield. I'm excited for Redfall. I think, we're going to get much, obviously, Forza Motorsport, a couple of the RTS games, Ghostwire Tokyo. We're going to be getting a lot of great games. I think that that's going to be the main thing, and the fact that Microsoft would have rushed games out in the past, it really goes to show you that we've kind of come a long way in what Microsoft could offer. And I feel like Microsoft as a company, what he's saying is 100% accurate here. He's saying, listen, being a part of this big company, you're not forced to rush things out. I feel like one of the reasons why Cyberpunk was rushed out and kind of a mess was because there were those expectations. It's not as large of a company, and so you sort of have this situation where you're kind of screwed, and you have to maybe release this game early in a poor state, and it's hard to come back from that. Very few games can actually come back from something like that, and so I think it's super smart that Microsoft is able to kind of come back and kind of say, hey, this is something that we can help them with, giving them time, giving them the money, giving them everything that they need to be competitive and to go out there and put the best game out, the game that they want to put out. And that's something that not a lot of developers can say. That's a bonus of being part of Xbox and being part of Microsoft, is you have a little bit of that, hey, we have that leeway, we can kind of do what we want. And I love the fact that they're able to kind of go and do that. It's very smart. It's very smart to go out there and do that, and it's very smart to kind of, that's why so many of these studios, if you even go back to something like Ninja Theory, right, they're one of the ones that said, hey, you know what, knowing where our next meal is coming from is a huge thing for us, because now we don't have to go out there and beg and things like that. So I think that's pretty cool. You also get some of the passion projects. Like, I know Pentiment isn't for everyone, and like I said, I haven't played it yet, but you can do stuff like that because Game Pass needs games like that as well as the big AAAs. So very smart move. Cool to see that happen. I can't wait to see what happens in the future show. So it should be fun to see how this all turns out. Let me know what you think. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thank you so much for watching. Crap Gamer out.